Okay, we're here again at Flat Earth Hollywood, Question Everything 2019. Mark Sargent just spoke. People might be taking a dinner break soon. Just want to say hello to everyone. Welcome. Cooling off, it's a little breezy here. Sunny Southern California. I guess I'd like to address some of the naysayers. Everyone here is having a pretty good time and enjoying it. Pretty tired of the naysayers. People that sort of type in stuff online and don't get around to giving us solutions. I've been accused of a lot of things I could really live without, and that's without the other one. So I guess, here I am, call me a shill, whatever you feel like it. What you looking for? Oh, that's probably mine. It must have blown away in the wind. Hi, Richard.
Who am I talking to?
But it looks bigger on, I bet it
Oh,
looks bigger
yeah,
on
I know this
screen.
man. Oh, Mark, I missed the whole talk. Well, welcome everyone. I was just complaining to the online community, who may or may not be listening. I just went live, so there isn't an audience yet.
Oh, okay.
But you're welcome to say hello.
What am I doing?
Of course, I'm running B-roll. Hey,
You mind if I?
absolutely, go ahead. As a matter of fact, we
Record
could
over your
just run,
shoulder?
no, you
Okay,
could just
cool.
run your interview. It'd be just easy. Because basically, I'm just doing B-roll for Joe.
Oh, sure.
You know.
Want to talk to me?
I mean,
And I'm running it live just because people will walk up and what the hell. I don't know where else to put it, whether to put it on the phone or not.
Sure.
So I'm just running it. I could do it private, but
That's all right.
I gave it the old F it. I wish I caught your talk. I missed it.
Well, it'll be on video. It was pretty good.
Okay, good.
You know what? I'll give you. Well, do you read much?
Not like a reader.
I can
I
give
can
you.
read
I'll
them.
tell you
My
what.
comprehension's
I'll give you the paper copy.
Yeah.
You want it?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
awesome.
Okay.
That'd be so cool. Thanks for this, by the way. Oh, yeah. Mark gave me this.
I didn't do that. That was somebody. I actually know the Calvin and Hobbes. That's a funny story because and a little ironic because the guy that created Calvin and Hobbes, he started out as a patent attorney, and he used to sign things for people, and like people would send him books and he'd sign them, but then he started seeing them on eBay, stuff that he'd already sent them, and he got really angry about it. So that he just said nobody get. He goes, I'm not signing this freaking autograph for the rest of my life. You guys can eat it. And what's funny is his stuff, his cartoons are stolen more than just about anything.
oh yeah.
I mean, they're stolen, they're ripped off all the time, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's like this curse, especially the Ford and Chevy thing. It's like taking a whiz on whatever it is. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Will you tell me your name? I didn't catch it when I was out here before.
My name's Dan. They
Dan.
know me as Dan the Waterman,
Dan the
and
Waterman.
we do a show called Flat Earth Hollywood.
All right.
Hopefully one day to become Saturday Night Live. I got a book on that that should keep it in position.
That'd be cool.
Cool. So I think we covered all. I mean, then when I saw you the other day,
Yeah, we
covered
talked
pretty
about a
much
lot of
everything.
stuff.
But I
Yeah,
guess
any
we-
follow-ups? I'm
Uh,
glad you showed up, by the way. There was nothing I could do to
No, it's okay. I figured it out.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, my initial thing was like, why don't you just interview him? Tell him you
Joe.
want to. Yeah, you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
interview Joe.
I
and that'd
want
be
to.
it.
I want to,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm going to, but I didn't want to make that the whole purpose of being here. I
Well,
guess.
I'm just
'Cause I
saying if you
talk
wanted
about
to,
people.
most people are. No, I know it scared me too. But most people are like, "Oh, you're gonna interview? Yeah, I'll do whatever you want."
Yeah. Well,
So-
I'll definitely follow up and interview him.
All right. Anyway,
How did your speech go?
well. It was the first time I'd done that one particularly, and I built that one to kind of carry me through the year, so I could take it with me. In fact, we just built the PowerPoint for it an hour before I went on.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had all the slides, but we put them all together, and I already had. I mean, the text is what's important. I could have done it without slides. But in fact, this was the first one I actually had with slides because most of the time they'll simulcast and put you up on the screen, so people can see all the way in the back. You don't have to look at the distance. But this is small enough; they didn't have to worry about that. But it was good. No, I liked it. I liked the notes I wanted to cover, and again, my point was more of a State of the Union, how we got here. Because a lot of people, now that we've gone 4 years, are you leaving?
Come back!
Oh, okay. State of the Union and how we got here, because even though it's only been 4 years, there's a lot of people that have only been in like 2. They forgot the weirdness that it took to get here. All this strange chain of events. I mean, seriously, we have a lot of veterans that have forgotten the Leonardo story, which, you know, him going to the Vatican and talking about flat Earth on camera. It's like, what are you doing? You know, and this is 2016, everything was surreal to us. It's like, why would you talk to him about flat Earth when you literally have 15 minutes with the man? That's all you have. And you won't be invited back anytime soon. And that's what he brought up. And he, seriously, you ought to watch the video.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It's fascinating.
So, okay, I guess my question is, because the crowd is pretty small and there's a lot of empty seats.
Yeah.
If flat Earth is so big, if it's grown so much,
Right.
why aren't more people showing up in person? A lot of people are going online and watching videos.
Mostly because of that. Well, okay, there's 2 reasons.
Travel.
One, and I've seen it over and over, and that is 90% of our membership are in the closet because they can't be seen. Even going to this, not just by their friends, but imagine trying to explain to your spouse where you were going to go today, because it's rare that in a same family you'll have a husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend that are on the same page. So either my cousins are a perfect example. They'd love to be here, but they can't, because you would have to tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm going to blah blah blah. Is that, or you're going to lie, which never ever happens. That's why the meetups are so great. I mean, yeah, we've had meetups that are bigger than this. In fact, the Arcadia meetup was bigger than this, but it was a nice effort on their part. Plus, there's a couple other aspects of it which blended in. One, it wasn't a solid Flat Earth conference, which was fine, and I knew that. It had more religious overtones. Most of the Flat Earth conferences are, I wouldn't just say secular, but they don't quote a lot of chapter and verse. Stuff like this, and we have, I mean, you gotta remember, at least 50% of the Flat Earth community are hardcore Christians. So it's
Well, why do you think that is?
because of the default. Okay, here's why. If you all of a sudden go from this, if you're a Christian and you were believing in this, hi Caroline.
Hi, Mom.
She totally digs me. The
Come hang with us.
In his wildest dreams.
don't hit me. Don't hit me.
I totally made you lose your frame of thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I love doing that. It's so awesome.
Well, Caroline's great. She is one of the best Flat Earth cheerleaders ever. So no, if you're a Christian and you believe in that, and all of a sudden you go to this, if you were let's just say 90% sure in your biblical truth, your biblical paradigm, you're now 95% sure, at least, or even higher. And for a lot of them, that's all it takes. It's like, okay, any
That was
doubts that they
close.
had that this place was created, it's gone. I mean, truthfully, come on, this will eventually kill atheism. For not maybe entirely, because there's always going to be somebody. It's like, but they would not believe this. You can't be an atheist, buy this, and still be an atheist. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Well, because then you're splitting hairs. Because the technology required to build something like this is so far advanced that, okay, you're either talking about a massive advanced civilization or you're talking about God, the divine. Well, what's the difference between? Because if a giant golden spaceship lands, who are you going to claim is in the giant golden spaceship? The advanced civilization or the divine? Because you're going to have both. I mean, all of a sudden, seriously, if some giant golden thing landed in that parking lot over there, you'd have a new religion forming overnight, just because, as long as they were better looking than us. That's the whole catch. A lot of people don't know that. It's
Wow.
So,
no, it's true.
Yeah,
they
that's
have to be.
interesting.
They
If
can't,
they were ugly.
if they're ugly,
wow.
we'd hate them immediately. They'd have to
Wow,
be.
We'd never get used to it.
They'd have to be, and they can't be a color that we have here either, because then you're running.
identity politics.
Your
Let's
identity
take over.
politics. They'd have to. Seriously, I've thought about a lot of this stuff. They'd have to either be blue, Avatar-ish, or silver, or maybe gold. That's it. That's all you got. And so, anyway,
Well, okay, so I'm an atheist, but I could...
complete.
Complete.
Really good for you.
But I could imagine coming around to thinking that the Earth was flat,
Sure.
but that not necessarily changing my beliefs about everything else.
Hey, if you can hold on to it, great. However, again, even you though then you're going to start blurring the lines, which is okay if this thing was built by some giant space guy in a bathrobe, not, kind of mixing a few
Yeah,
things.
oh.
Then who is it? I mean, whoever they are. Okay, let me throw it in this
Well,
way.
let me-
You may not believe in God, right? But whoever built this is one step closer to knowing God's phone number than you are.
Well, okay, from my point of view, I'd say it's possible for the Earth to be flat, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's encased with a man.
It's not so,
a built
so much
system.
that, though. Is it of wild randomness with the timepieces, these acting as timepieces, with these being sized
Well,
that
that's
way?
just it. It can't be, unless you're saying, and I know there's like 70% of the people believe in a dome, and another 30% believe that it's an infinite plane.
Okay.
Or it might be part of a much larger sphere, but then you're getting the whole space thing again. It's like you don't have to have a giant sphere, but then people have a hard time thinking about infinity. The thing is, if
Well,
it's
infinity is a problem no matter what you
oh
when
yeah,
you think
infinity, you've
Earth's
got a
a-
tough time with infinity.
Right, nobody has an explanation that makes infinity make sense.
Right.
Whether you're talking about the Earth being a globe or flat or an infinite plane.
Right.
So, to me, when I talk to
Are you photobombing me? Are you video bombing me?
Yep, we're video bombing Mark Sargent. Dan the Waterman.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So, no matter what you believe, you don't have a good answer for, okay, what's beyond that?
Right.
And what's beyond that, right?
Right.
So if you said, well, I'm an atheist, but I believe in flat Earth, but I can't explain what's beyond the atmosphere
Sure.
that encloses us. I don't know what's underneath the Earth. I don't really know how to explain the sun and the moon
Right.
and exactly what they are, where they come from.
Right.
You're kind of in the same position as where you were before.
Sure.
Thinking the Earth is round, but still not having answers except for I have a theory here, or I
In
believe a
case you
scientist
got to
here.
where we are.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know.
You got to where we
So
are.
my curiosity is why are there more people like who are atheists but are willing to adopt this idea, but there are people who are Christian who are so easy to jump over. Why doesn't that
leap
occur
of faith.
across the board?
Plain and simple. Christians love religion as a whole. That's the whole. I think leap of faith. That's where the concept came from, which is you were willing to make. What was that? God, it was an Einstein quote. He said that one of the reasons why science and religion have a really tough time merging is because that science is stagnant and religion is blind. Meaning science will not make the leap of faith, and religion seems to make blind leaps of faith. And that's what, in this case, it's not even that blind. It's like, look, we're giving you kind of a blueprint, more or less. Make it. And then once they do, they realize, like, yeah, this is way easier to deal with for Christians. Way easier. Again, I don't know if I remember saying this the other day with you, but think of it this way. Because of social media, because a new breed of scientist type people, we have now created a way of explaining a cosmic model, if you want to call it cosmic a word, that is now easier than this. And
Easier to who?
easier to the average person, easier to hurt, easier to him, easier to a lot of people. Because
regardless of religious.
yeah,
belief.
regardless, because it involves almost very little math. I mean, yes, there's some hypotheticals like what engineering technology to use for that, and what's underneath it, and all that other stuff. But the globe model, what I try to tell people, and I'm not being mean when I say this, is like, look, if you're a big scientist guy, you're not going to save your arguments with math, mostly because of the 8 inches per mile squared. I don't remember telling you this, which is okay. So
The radius of the
the
Earth is
radius of the Earth, so
measurable.
8 inches per mile squared. Mainstream science says the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile per mile. Well, I ran into this in month one, which was I realized that the average person on the street not only know nothing about physics, they've forgotten pretty much all math. And by that I mean we're talking a really simple. I say this now because you know it. Algebra equation, which is the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile, that one, per mile, right? You ask them, you seriously, you can go to anybody and say, okay, what the curvature there, if I told you that's 8 inches per mile, they're totally with you. You're like, yep, I'm there, right? Everybody from a plumber to a fry cook to whatever, I'm totally with you. And then you say squared. And they just glaze over. It's like everything they ever forgot about high school algebra is coming back to haunt them. Okay, what does that mean? What that means is if they don't know that, every time somebody tries to argue and create the globe with geometry and trig and calculus and quantum mechanics, you might as well be just feeding them a loud amplified version of a modem handshake. They don't hear it. You might as well be saying Latin because the math will not even begin to sink in. And so all of a sudden, remember, the path of least resistance, which is people always take the easiest path, art of war, Sun Tzu, which is it's like, if this is easier, to even if you say, well, it's not a complete model and there's missing pieces here, it's like, yeah, it's a lot more complete now than this is.
Not necessarily more complete. You're saying it's more digestible.
There you go.
Which
Great.
is, which
I
is
mean,
fine.
yeah,
but
I'm gonna copyright that and a subsidiary right.
the most digestible explanation doesn't mean it's right.
No, it doesn't. But does that matter?
Well, to me, it matters what's right.
Sure.
So you're saying more people can believe an idea if it's simple enough to understand without knowing any math or, say, history or anything, right?
It's not
Yeah,
a belief system, though. It's,
I'm not-
this
Well,
isn't-
It is a belief system,
No.
whether or not it's true.
It's okay. It's okay. I get what you're saying there, and you're saying, well, just because it's simple doesn't mean you should be pushing it. Because if it's simple and you're convincing people, is that fraudulent? I'm going, no.
I'm not saying it's fraudulent.
No,
I'm
no,
just
it's
saying
okay.
it doesn't carry any weight.
It does to them.
Well, it's saying a belief can be widely held if
Right.
it's simple, but a more complicated one isn't going to be. Sorry, I lost my train.
No, it's all right.
To me, I don't see the power in your statement that hey, people have an easier time understanding flat Earth because you don't have to know math.
Right.
Yeah, people don't. People will believe a lot of things that are
Yes.
easier to understand.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean they're true.
But we can
No,
talk
no,
to
it
them.
doesn't. But in doing that, they will explore this option. Remember, we're not talking about a lot of dummies here. I mean, these people. Look, everybody starts in the hole. Everybody hates flat Earth to start. Everybody looks at this and say, I say flat Earth, right? And they go, yeah, I'm not buying it. And then I go, okay, it's this, A through Z, and take a look. And then they start chewing on it. And they realize there's more loose ends here than there is here.
Not loose ends. What you're saying
Oh
is.
no, I am seeing.
Okay,
loose
well,
ends.
maybe-
I guess.
First, we have to teach them what they believe. Then we have to show them the flaws in what they believe.
And-
But we first have to really go over what they were taught because it wasn't something they looked into. It's something they were literally,
Assumed.
yeah.
Assume. Yeah.
Assumed.
The-
Everybody, the like lab coats. Just because he's wearing this doesn't mean he's got a master's. And yet, we see that. Ty made a clue on it, which was, look, a person walks around, we believe the uniform that is presented to us. And we believe science that is presented to us, which is why science went, at some point in their history, and it didn't take long, they went from science to scientism, which is they took leaps of faith and then they put their stamp on it and they said, again, not maybe collectively they kind of thought this. It wasn't like they sat around and wrung their hands, came up with this idea, which was no matter what we put our stamp on, there's people out there seem to buy it. So let's just keep running with it, and we'll just keep building on our own theories and just start making up stuff. I don't know, the dark matter, dark energy,
NASA.
the NASA, gravity, the core of the Earth, which I love so much. The core of the Earth. It's like not only tell us what the core of the Earth looks like, they tell us what Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune, things that they don't even claim to have landed on. They came to say the core of the Earth. The core of that particular body.
The weight of a neutron star.
Weight of neutron
What
star.
are they
How many?
thinking?
Sorry.
Could that possibly just be answered by math that is
Oh,
By
there you
math
go
only.
again.
Only math.
yeah, math, but math that's like the layperson doesn't understand 8.5 miles squared.
But math,
Yeah.
but
Is-
that's
there's-
answered.
There's
that-
clearly math
that's
that we
only
don't
math.
understand that
No,
maybe.
But there's
answers
only
some of those
math
questions.
here. When we go to look at the real Earth, which this man has done with me,
Yeah.
this curvature and the motions don't appear.
That's what it's one of the most compelling things and I didn't even put it in the clues, which was all of a sudden people started literally for whatever reason started running to the coastline with cameras and just started cranking up the zoom on their camera and saying, look, I can see this. Look, I can see this. And all conditions, all countries, all types of light and weather and whatever distances and atmospheric conditions. And everyone kept coming back to the same thing. It's like, no, there's absolutely no curve. They couldn't find that equation. That was, if mainstream says 8 inches per mile squared, and you and all the other people go to the beach and they can't find it, how many times does that have to happen before all of a sudden there's this consensus? And again, it just starts moving forward and propels itself. And that's where everyone is now. I mean, it is the most single, I shouldn't say easily provable argument, but it's the easiest accessible to everybody because there's a body of water everywhere.
Yeah.
Lakes and frozen lakes, that's even better. Frozen lakes are fantastic. Wish we do more of those. Sorry, I rambled.
No, that was good.
If you can't find curvature, this is impossible.
if water doesn't curve, this is completely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If the Earth is covered in 71% water, and water always is flat and level, 71% of the
These guys,
is
these
covered
guys
by
were at the
water.
Salton Sea with me when National Geographic did their segment. They just came after us. You know, they had a debunking squad that they hired from down here, and they tried to shoot this footage. And they were so frustrated by the stuff that they were showing. I mean, the test was absolutely horrible. That
Wait, which test?
Oh, they were looking across the Salton Sea, 9-10 miles, and they were, they waited till midday, and the atmospheric lensing and refraction was off the freaking hook, and we couldn't even see mountains in the distance after a while. And National Geographic edited it to where they even killed the balloon thing. The balloon thing was the best, which was they were supposed to shoot balloons on the other side of the lake, 10 miles away, nine and a half? 9, yeah, whatever. So the balloons on the other side. The thing was they forgot, because they're rookies, and you never ever do it live on television first. You always do a dry run, and that was, they realized that when you send an object 10 miles off into the distance and everything kind of looks the same, you have nowhere idea to look, right? So how are you going to find balloons on the other side of the curvature if you don't know where to look, if you have no land markers? We were the ones that showed it to them because we had our cameras looking at the freaking balloons. We were the spotters. And we were saying, look, there's your balloons right there. And they said, no, you can't see them. They're on the other side of the curve. It's like, no, they're there. They're right there. And we were absolutely right. And
Still on
Beach
the
to
ground.
beach,
Still
to
on the
beach.
ground too.
Yeah.
The balloons weren't even launched in the air. You shouldn't have been able to see the balloons until they were 34 feet up in the air.
And
that was
that-
the point of the whole experiment. And we found them when they were still on the ground.
And that footage frustrated them so much, they cut out the entire balloon section of their segment on the national feed.
Yeah, they didn't even.
They killed it. I mean, they literally, that took a lot of time. That took hours and a lot of manpower. And we didn't have to do anything. It was all their team.
I was up at 4 in the morning. I helped.
Yeah.
I was.
And we
actively part
uploaded
of
all the
that
footage, so
experiment.
what
And-
we're saying is documented well. If you look up Salton Sea experiments, you'll see the actual footage that they removed.
And they went to their backup plan, which was send a raft out halfway, about 4.5 miles, this little inflatable raft, and then hold up a sign with stripes on it. And then during the segment, they didn't even say, one, how far it was away or what exactly they should see. It's like, oh, yep, there's stripes disappearing. Good night, everybody. And I was like, what are you talking about? You can see the whole boat and the shoreline behind and another 4 miles beyond it. That was, they dodged it as much as they could. It was some of the worst editing I've ever seen.
And you could still see the stripes.
Yeah,
Like,
and you
she's
could
like,
still see
oh,
the
look,
stripes."
you could see the red stripe and the white stripe are gone. And you look at the video and you could clearly see the red and the white stripes. So
Yeah.
she's just blatantly lying.
Yeah.
And she's like, what could cause that? And the little guy from IAG's like, only the curvature of the earth.
Yeah. But again, it's National Geographic. I mean, they are the poster child for science, even more than Discovery, even more than other things. I mean, National Geographic had the exclusive shots for the Apollo missions all through those years. So they hate us. But at the same time, the reason why they even contacted us was because of the U.gov survey. That really bothered them.
So what you said up there is like a third of 18 to 24-year-olds
Third of the 18-20-year-olds don't believe in the globe anymore.
in the entire
Country? And, yeah, the United States. And that freaked them out because, one, it was a British survey. Two, it was scientific research. It wasn't us. It was them. It was their side of the field. And they decided, hey, let's call up some Americans, see how bad this really is. And most of them fit in 2%, 3%, 5%, which is still a lot. You remember, every percentage point in the United States overall is 3.3 million, which is a lot of people, right? But when they got to the 1824s, it was 34%. And I mean, that's way, any variances. I mean, that's way out there. And that bugged, there was a lot of scientific journals that were so bothered by it that they were writing pieces saying, well, obviously the study was wrong. They're calling up their own people saying, you're doing it wrong. It's like, what are you talking about? It's the same study we always do with anything else we do. No, you're not asking the right questions. But National Geographic saw this and they freaked out. They called me when I was up in Toronto at a film festival, and they said, look, we want to do this because we're really concerned that this might be turning. And they were true to their word. When you had left, they had sat me down for about 30 minutes. They used 30 seconds of that. And that 30 minutes where there was just us talking, they were asking me questions I've never heard before in my life.
like what?
What happens when flat Earth gets beyond your control? What happens to medicine? What happens to technology? What happens to civilization as we know it? What happens if you guys usher? I wasn't exaggerating. What happens if you usher in the new dark ages? I'm going, really? Wow, that seems a bit out there, but I played it politically correct and said, well, obviously, I can only lead by example. But we haven't done anything. We've never blown up a post office or burned down. We burned down a library or any of that stuff.
Or even gone in the streets with any form of protest.
Why is
lobbying.
is Tori? Is
She can't be leaving.
no,
She's
no.
moving.
Hori's on the ground taking footage. Is that van driving over him? Close enough.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Anyway, so
He's talking about a message.
Corey.
So-
This is what we would do. We
But-
lay in front of
But-
We're
vehicles.
passengers.
Yeah.
But Nat Geo was really concerned. It wasn't just the on-air talent; it was the producer behind me. He was feeding her the questions, and I could hear it in his voice. He was very concerned, mostly because science wasn't putting up an organized defense, mostly out of arrogance. Anything, their science is like they'll go away, they'll go away, they'll go away. It's like, dude, every year, everything just gets weirder because eventually, again, critical mass. All it has to do is hit some sort of mainstream. Once you get people, the average person, talking about it, you're in trouble. And then, I do agree in some sense that science will have to be backpedaling if that's the case. I don't necessarily wish them any harm, but come on, they've been running ripshod for 5 centuries.
We're in the dark ages right now. That's what people don't understand.
What the-
It's like things are actually terrible right now, and they could be a million times better. And if we were in charge, we would make sure that things were way better.
In what way?
Free energy, free land.
How about
I mean,
how about science decisions? Let me do this.
Yeah.
Science decisions not being made for money. And by that I mean, and I know, look, there's lies in business and politics and entertainment and sports, but there's also lies in science. Science is, they consider themselves above reproach, and yet they will take the money as much as anybody else. And you say, well, when? Well, when they cut corners, how about to bring any product to market? And by that I mean, just rattle off a few: lead paint, lead gasoline, DDT and all the variants of DDT, asbestos, which we're still doing class action suits for. How about all those fun guys that wore the lab coats that took all the money to sell the cigarettes were fine, and so on and so on.
Essentially, what you're saying is that people who do science don't always have pure values.
Scientists need Porsches too. All right.
Yeah, but if flat earthers ran the country, they would be tempted by payoffs and greed just like anyone else.
Not as much as you might think.
Why not?
It's weird because once you get into if you become flat Earth, you become a lot more open-minded. And I'm okay.
Well,
Let
me side note
Go ahead.
that there's obviously a huge portion of Christians that are flat earthers.
Yes.
A huge portion.
Yes.
Are they all what you consider open-minded?
a lot more than you might think. Here's why.
I
Let me-
personally don't want devout Christians running the country as the government.
I don't think anybody does.
Okay.
No, I got you.
there'd
Well,
be-
let me do an objectives because I'm not gonna quote chapter and verse. But if this place was created, and I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. When I figured out that this place was absolutely built, and that somebody, I'm not saying you've got an overlord that's watching us, maybe just like a parent sitting on the couch, pulling down the newspaper every once in a while, making sure you're not burning things down. But once I realized that someone may be looking over us, I couldn't do a malicious thing to anyone else if I wanted to. Couldn't take the risk.
Well, that's you personally, but I know a lot of people who I think really believe in a higher power, that there's a creator watching over,
Right.
and they do a lot of terrible things.
I agree,
So
but
the flat Earth community, when you become a flat earther, it changes your view on the outside world as far as everybody else too. Because we're all here, and none of the names on this map mean anything anymore.
As far as like different countries.
As far
yeah,
like,
you're all part of the same boat,
Yeah.
the same family.
And so we know that we're here together, and we have to take care of each other. That's like everybody here, like the flat earthers here, we're a very tight community, and we welcome everybody, and we try and take care of our own. Like we've built really strong relationships
Oh, yeah.
with everybody around here, and if we were in charge, we would want to make sure that everybody was taken care of, because we know that this earth is actually designed to be able to sustain everybody that's here. I mean, overpopulation is another myth, just like the globe.
Mhm.
You could fit the whole entire population of the world into Texas, and everybody could have 1,000 square feet to themselves. Like that's how much room is here.
Okay.
And then they make us think that, you know, we're all struggling and everything's scarce and,
Yeah.
you know.
Simulate scarcity,
Yeah.
putting the pressure on, keeping people busy. But again, we could all, like I try to tell, I can only speak for myself, but all I can do is lead by example and give my best example out there, my best foot forward. And I'm hoping that more people understand what I said at the end of the speech, what I feel. And again, once you realize you're a part of this, again, yes, the borders are gone. In fact, this map is fun because you don't see any countries. And
Well, there's borders there just as much as there's borders on the globe wherever it is.
Sure.
I mean, I feel the same way that like we should be moving towards a society where we don't care if somebody's on one side of the border or the other. It should be about, do we have shared values and can we all come together and
Right.
support and love each other? But I think that thinking the Earth is round, and I don't know that me switching over to a flat Earth model is going to change that belief, positive or negative.
well, again, you're not there yet, but that's fine. And that is, once you can wrap your head around this, you realize again, it's one of the default states, and that is if this was built, then it was built by somebody. If it was built by somebody bigger than you out there.
I mean, it's the same argument for round Earth. That's
Yes,
what Christian people have
but
been
this is
telling me
but
my
this
whole
even
life.
but round Earth has more of an organic-y, well, what they've been pushing at is for a long time, which is if you're in a round Earth, then you're just this little rock that's flying through space and gets snuffed out at all times. And again, that's where science can latch on, because then they can go on and say, well, there is no God, and go all the way back to the Big Bang, again, dark matter, dark energy. all this
But
stuff.
you still face the same argument whenever you talk to someone who believes in God.
But-
Is, well, how could this Earth that's so perfect and sustains life and
But
is
as
one
far as,
in,
so
you
like,
know,
but with the flat Earth, like when your mindset with the globe, like you're in a mindset where it's hard for you to think of something other than the way that things are like right now. And understanding the flat Earth is also understanding that everything that's going on right now is completely not what it should be. So like you think, oh, there's no way we could ever do that. We can never all come together, but there is a way. You just haven't stepped outside of the box
I
to
guess
think
it,
about how that could possibly happen.
I think we
If
could.
there's free energy everywhere and free,
Are you?
or not free, but unlimited resources,
Oh, I'm
then
tempted.
there's no reason why
Please.
we shouldn't all be able to come
They
together.
offered me a
I mean,
Coke
you think we're on the globe, but all they talk about is going to Mars and starting colonies on Mars. Like the best thing in the world would be to get off of this world and go somewhere else.
No plant words there.
But
Nice.
Well,
we don't need to go anywhere. We have to understand
Before you
where we're
finish,
at
I'll say
and
something
understand
about
that there's a better way to do things, and understanding that the Earth is flat is like a foundational thing to completely wiping that
the
whole slate
conference?
clean
Sure. And then,
and having an open
I have
mind
globes
to
if you
to
need
hear new
doing
ideas
one
about how we could
Get
do
extra
things.
globes. If you want
I
something,
I agree that
Oh, how big?
the world is
I can't take it with
nearly
me.
where it should be.
Oh, I mean, I
There's
got
a
a
lot of
couple this
changes we
size.
should make. The first one
Lord.
being,
I mean,
yeah, maybe energy being free and it being
Okay.
generated in a totally
I'd
different
have to
way
be
that
somebody
doesn't
local. Oh, I could give one to
destroy the
Caroline.
planet.
Right.
And I think you and I could
I don't know if there's
agree
anyone
on
else local
probably
that I'd want to.
1,000
But
other
that's
things
good.
and form a group that really set out to change those problems.
Right.
But I see the Earth being flat or round
rather
as like
bring it up.
you like chocolate and I like vanilla.
Mhm.
It's like two ways of looking at the situation, but we can both agree that things are fucked up and being run by the wrong people.
Mhm.
But I don't see that dovetails so perfectly into flat Earth because I think a lot of people can agree on that stuff
You can hold this up.
without even
I
talking
mean,
about the shape.
I guess, like having the foundational similarity, like being on the same foundation is like the start
I have no
of
idea.
being able to
Love,
move in that direction.
exciting
And having to
and
disconnect, being disconnected from
We're
that,
expecting
that
you.
foundational truth of like where we are
Anything
is a
else?
very strong barrier of like of misunderstanding.
love boat.
I see this
Soon
thing
we'll
happen
be
where
making another
people who are
boat.
religious
Go on that
sometimes have a
love
belief
boat.
that there's somebody looking out for us.
Mark
Somebody's
might
gonna
get
take
sick
care of the
on that
problem.
very
Even
moment.
if
You're
I
not,
don't
Mark's
see that
not
in my
going
life,
up there.
I might.
heaven,
Hey,
I told him, I go, if I have to take Dramamine, I'm a zombie, it's
go
your
out
fault.
of my way to try to change
And
the
I will
world
start
and
throwing
fix
people
all
overboard.
problems because somebody else
Okay,
is
this
doing
on?
it. To me, I see that
I don't know, but Kenny Flatter's over there.
I should have talked to him.
and I think that
All right.
When I was trying to usher you, it wasn't from here.
Oh, well, he can follow me over.
God made the flat Earth,
Dan?
and that He has a plan
He's the guy
for
that
it.
follows us to Bond Studios.
He's looking, like Mark just said, he's kind of as a parent looking over, checking
What's this
on us.
for?
Do I get a
It's
globe?
easy to go, okay, yeah,
What's this
the Earth is
Not
flat.
just a
I don't know
globe.
whoever has it, but
Not
I
just a globe, an autograph. Wait, that's not a real
Neighbor
shirt.
I've
or
got a shirt
trying to
that
resolve
looks
energy.
Oh, I'm taking this to be
I
signed by
don't see that
everybody.
those two
All
are.
right.
Cause you know, I'm driving, so I carry all kinds of stuff.
This way
It's in a hallway
and to the
that's-
Oh,
left.
yeah, there you go.
Mark, this isn't a great one, but if you want to take it for somebody, you can.
Can you put two maybe?
To maybe?
When you're inside the grave,
I'm Navy.
Oh, I thought it was maybe.
He's Navy.
How's that?
Thank you.
from outside the group, I
All right.
see
Sure.
everywhere.
All right.
I see that there's strong communities.
So you want me to go over there? I'm.
What?
Well, no, I have to. Well, there's another.
All right, sign it, Dan.
Okay, what do you want me to do? Because.
What do I want you to do?
What do you want me to do?
Nothing. No,
Okay.
just say something so Joe can get a soundbite from you.
Right now?
Yeah.
On this?
Yeah.
This is Mark Sargent at the QE 2019 conference. It was wonderful. It was great to see everybody, and I'm flying back home tomorrow. And it was by far the coldest California temperature I've ever been in, which is weird. Normally, I'm really uncomfortable. This feels so much like the
Can I borrow the
Northwest.
Sharpie to have other people sign it?
I was
Thank you.
very comfortable, and so yeah, thanks to Joe and everybody that did the conference, and I'm glad that everything.
Mine to keep, right?
Yep, everyone's back on track, and I think the speech I did went well. Hopefully, everyone will get a chance to listen to it. And what else?
That's it. Just so happy to see you.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to be here. And sorry for anyone that went to Denver and didn't get a chance to see me speak.
Oh.
No, I still hate him. I still hate that kid. If you, seriously, I'd say if it was my kid, I would have smothered him with a pillowcase. And his brother.
I wonder what he's gonna do.
Oh, he'll release it, and it'll get a lot of play, but he'll never embrace it because he just.
He doesn't think it's crap, though. He thinks it's a real
Truthfully,
thing, right?
truthfully, he doesn't have the neurons to even process such.